My very first guest here at CFS Plus is no one less than Her Royal Highness, the Crown Princess Mary of Denmark, who is the patron of Global Fashion Agenda, and actually the only speaker that has been speaking as a keynote speaker at every single Copenhagen Fashion Summit since 2009. She is a strong advocate for sustainability and a big humanitarian, and with a strong focus, especially also on women across the world. Your Royal Highness, welcome, and thank you so much for joining me here in now the almost empty concert house, where we usually have all of our international friends and voices from all over the world.
It is quite a contrast.
It is.
And, you know, it reflects the times we are living in right now. I mean, the worrying times. And it is sad, because it's so nice to meet people from all corners of the globe, to be able to hear everyone's different reflections and great ideas and innovations, but we'll continue to do that. You've planned a great 2 days.
We have. Some of them are going to be brought to life in pre-produced pieces where we come even closer, I would say, because we're at their homes, so closer to them for longer times. And then we are also going to deliver like live Zoom setup panels where some of those important discussions and debates are going to happen. So yeah, it's going to be 2 exciting days still. Yeah. It's definitely been a difficult year. I mean, COVID obviously has impacted everybody, but not least the fashion industry, with lockdowns and stores were closed, and, you know, big impacts on the supply chain. But how has it been for you and your life?
Yeah, like everyone, our life has been turned on its head. I mean, we're living and experiencing a global pandemic, the worst health crisis in 100 years. We've seen how societies all around the world have been closed down from one day to the next, where our freedom of movement, which we cherish so deeply, has been so incredibly restricted. And also, of course, the tragedy of losing loved ones.
The year of COVID-19 has, of course, also impacted the supply chain and some of the sort of weakest links of fashion, namely for the workers. And I know that you've been traveling and you've seen, you know, not this year, but previous years also, you know, met people in the supply chain and seen the conditions they're working on. So how has that affected your view on things this year, thinking of them?
Well, COVID has had broad-reaching impact and consequences in all corners of the globe and in all areas of our societies. And when crisis strikes, the most poor and vulnerable are disproportionately affected. Yeah. And we know the fashion industry is a huge employer. And the majority of those employed are women. And you're right, I traveled to Bangladesh and I had the opportunity to visit a factory and some workers, talk to some of the workers there. And if we take Bangladesh as an example, I mean, that's a country that is very dependent on the textile industry. 80% of their export is through textile and fashion. So, and they produce 4 million people are employed, and 85% of them are women. Yeah. And we already know today that 1 million garment workers have been laid off. Now, the factory that I visited, maybe it's not completely representative of all the factories in Bangladesh, but we know that a job and financial independence gives enormous security and hope for the future. I spoke with a number of women there and heard about what it means from them to be unemployed. And the contrast of having a job to not having a job is stark indeed. These women have become financially independent. They are able to support their family and also their local communities. They have a voice in their families and in their communities because they have financial independence. They also are able to invest in their children, their health, their education. So I can imagine for these women that have lost their job because of reduced production and factory closures, that they're in a very dire situation.
Thank you.